continuous furious pounding. Each blow was like the creation of heaven and earth. The cultivators watching from afar could only see the vast earth ripple again and again, and in the center of the battle, only the figure of Luo Feng furiously pounding could be seen, without any sign of the lava prisoner striking back. This is Dragon Nine Daoist Monarch and Divine Emperor Qiu piloted a flying boat capable of short-distance traversals through the void. Rushing here at the fastest speed, they finally arrived at the battlefield. Upon arrival, they saw the scene of Luo Feng wielding a pill furnace, furiously pounding the lava prisoner. This power. Dragon Nine Daoist Monarch and Divine Emperor Qiu watched Luo Feng's every strike, causing the surrounding spacetime to twist and shatter completely. The endless earth trembled and rolled over and over, making them slightly pale. After all, this was the Dark Sacred Realm. The spacetime within the incredibly stable Dark Sacred Realm. In front of Luo Feng's power at this moment, even heaven and earth seemed fragile. Has Luo Feng Divine Emperor become a high-level primordial life? Divine Emperor Qiu couldn't help but wonder, why do I feel like if I touched him I would disappear? I don't know. Dragon Nine Daoist Monarch was also somewhat at a loss. This? The silver-haired, silver-browed man and the woman in a fiery red robe, watching the battle from the sky, were also stunned by the scene before them. The primordial prisoner simply can't resist, about to be beaten to death alive. The woman in the fiery red robe said softly. A life within the braided cage is about to kill a primordial prisoner capable of exerting a trace of high-level primordial power. The silver-haired man was somewhat trembling in his heart, exclaiming, if I hadn't seen it with my own eyes, I absolutely wouldn't believe it. The woman in the fiery red robe nodded. Although it is said that a normal high-level primordial life cannot only possess a trace of high-level primordial power, but what Luo Feng is doing now I have never heard of. They had never heard that a cultivator within the braided cage could become this strong. Oh, that prisoner is dead, Qiu Ge said. Luo Feng didn't hold back. Yifeiya laughed, come on, let's go meet Daoist Luo Feng. Luo Feng wielded the pill furnace and smashed hundreds of times, brutally shattering the big rock that was the lava prisoner until its life core was exposed, and it wasn't until the life core was smashed to pieces that Luo Feng finally stopped. Exhilarating. Luo Feng only felt thoroughly refreshed. With regard to the primordial prisoner, Luo Feng had no intention of capturing it alive, as he could easily obtain and comprehend the high-level primordial bloodline that matched his own. Such prisoners better to send them on their way. Regarding the antagonistic, innate primordial life camp, Luo Feng had no mercy nor any desire to torment. It was better to just kill them outright. He was unaware that this scene had utterly intimidated the over 1,000 cultivators in the distance, as well as Dragon Nine Daoist Monarch and Divine Emperor Qiu, who had just arrived. Luo Feng glanced around, saw Dragon Nine Daoist Monarch and Divine Emperor Qiu, and smiled as he nodded. Congratulations, brother Luo Feng. Dragon Nine Daoist Monarch and Divine Emperor Qiu both said, though they weren't clear about Luo Feng's state at the moment, there was no doubt that Luo Feng had made a breakthrough. Otherwise he wouldn't be this ridiculously strong. Before Luo Feng could speak with Dragon Nine Daoist Monarch and the others, he felt the surrounding scene change. Two figures flew down simultaneously, a silver-haired, silver-browed man, and a woman in a fiery red robe. Their auras were vast and expansive. If the lava prisoner only had a trace of high-level primordial power, then the high-level primordial power these two contained was utterly boundless. Two high-level primordial lives? Luo Feng was secretly shocked. I am Qiu Ge. I am Yifeiya. The silver-haired, silver-browed man and the woman in the fiery red robe landed and smiled as they introduced themselves. We are the guardians of the Dark Sacred Realm. The silver-haired man explained with a smile. Luo Feng, greetings to the guardians. Luo Feng saluted as well. The woman in the fiery red robe smiled and said, we have been observing Daoist Luo Feng for some time, and today Daoist Luo Feng has finally made a breakthrough, achieving the half-primordial life and death Dao. Congratulations, Daoist Luo Feng. The silver-haired man also said. Luo Feng was a little surprised. The two guardians knew I was cultivating the life and death Dao? The silver-haired man nodded and said, the last time you sparred with the Secret Ruins Divine Emperor and the others, Yifeiya and I reported to the Lord, and the Lord had even descended to the Dark Sacred Realm to observe Daoist Luo Feng closely. It was just that at that time your life and death Dao was somewhat lacking, so no connection was made. Luo Feng understood. He had previously wondered why he hadn't been connected despite supposedly having invincible strength. It turned out that the Lord had descended once before, but he did not yet meet the connection conditions at that time. The Lords you mentioned? Luo Feng asked. Our Dark World group, the earliest territory of Lord Senior Jin, the Dark Sacred Realm was all created by Senior Jin. The silver-haired man Qiu Ge didn't conceal anything, actively explaining. Later, when new lords were born, our cultivator territories were redrawn, and this became Senior Yuan's territory. Whenever a lord is born, the territory gets redrawn. Yifeiya also said, we've already reported your breakthrough to Senior Yuan, and I believe it won't be long before Senior Yuan will come to connect with you. Come, let's go to the Primordial Hall and wait. Senior Yuan generally descends at the Primordial Hall. Qiu Ge said. Luo Feng nodded and immediately waved his hand to put away the lava prisoner's body. The silver-haired man and the woman in the fiery red robe watched this scene, feeling somewhat complex. They both had a premonition that within the braided cage, this Daoist Luo Feng was already terrifying, and once he jumped out of the cage, it would be extraordinary. Whoosh. They immediately took Luo Feng, and in an instant they crossed vast distances, returning to the large primordial hall. After presenting food and wine, the two guardians, Qiu Ge and Yifeiya, took a very humble stance, treating Luo Feng as an equal. Ever since Daoist Luo Feng arrived in the dark sacred realm, we've been watching you. Qiu Ge smiled and said, we discovered that your accumulation was extremely deep, so we specifically selected a primordial prisoner to release, to help Daoist Luo Feng a bit. So it was the two guardians who helped me. Luo Feng was a bit surprised and grateful. Without the two of you, I don't know how long it would have taken for me to make a breakthrough. Yifeiya also smiled and said, with Daoist Luo Feng's comprehension potential, even without us, it wouldn't have taken long. Qiu Ge also nodded, Daoist Luo Feng's comprehension potential far surpasses ours. Your future is also far beyond ours. Luo Feng said, I've now reached the half-primordial life and death Dao, but I'm not sure where to go next. Our abilities cannot guide you. Qiu Ge said, just be patient and wait, and when the Lord comes to connect with you, a path will naturally be provided. Although they had heard that fusion Dao cultivators usually refine world-level primordial bloodline to become world-level primordial life, but they dared not advise Luo Feng, because they also knew, refining primordial bloodlines inevitably results in future troubles. Those who didn't refine bloodlines and still became world-level primordial life forms, their potential is even greater. Okay. Qiu Ge and Yifeiya immediately had a sense of an approaching presence. Luo Feng also sensed a formless fluctuation, a fluctuation somewhat resembling the source world origins operation, and with its descent, it became an old man. Senior Yuan. Luo Feng immediately sensed it and quickly greeted him. My lord. Qiu Ge and Yifeiya were even more respectful. The old man stood there, gazing at Luo Feng with a smile of approval. Not bad. In recent years Yuan's mood hasn't been good. After all, the innate primordial life camp is sparing no cost to completely annihilate the cultivator camp, and the war situation is dire. Many world clusters have fallen, numerous source worlds devoured, countless creatures wiped out. As the leader with the highest prestige in the entire cultivator camp, how could Yuan be in a good mood? Even though his main battle avatar is going all out, the overall strength gap between the two sides is immense. Luo Feng. Yuan looked at the young junior before him, and his mood was somewhat comforted, praising, you are the 93rd cultivator in the history of the entire cultivator camp to achieve the half-step fusion path. Upon hearing this, Luo Feng realized just how rare, half-primordial fusion path cultivators were. He knew the cultivator camp's territories were vast, possessing numerous world clusters. The long history was beyond the estimation of weaker cultivators like them who haven't escaped the braided cage. In the entire cultivator camp's territory, the endless long history, less than 100 have reached his level. Your spiritual will has also escaped the braided cage. Yuan said, possessing both makes you even rarer. Achieving world-level primordial life won't be difficult for you. Seeing the emergence of an excellent junior, Yuan felt some relief. Yet it still couldn't change the overall situation. Even if there were 10 world-level primordial lives, it wouldn't affect the situation a bit. When our cultivator camp was weak, considering how troublesome we lords were, they could tolerate us. But now they clearly can't bear it. Yuan understood this. A long time ago, all source worlds were food for innate primordial lives. It was the darkest period for cultivators. Every source world devoured, countless creatures extinct, like an irresistible catastrophe. When source worlds were consumed, the infinite primordial space would nurture new source worlds. The food for innate primordial lives was very plentiful. They were accustomed to such days. Later, the first primordial lord Yuan appeared, mastering the highest level of power in the infinite primordial space, with countless avatars, virtually immortal and indestructible. This made life a bit better for the cultivator camp. He tried to shield enough territories. With his strength shaking the infinite primordial space, his immortal and indestructible ability, the ancestors of the innate primordial life camp recognized his qualification to have a territory, and the two sides were peaceful. But as endless years passed, the number of lords in the cultivator camp gradually increased. The territories they held also grew larger. The conflicts became greater. Wars between the two sides occurred multiple times. The lords were strong enough, having successively killed over 10 primordial ancestors. But this time, it's the largest war scale in history. The innate primordial life camp is sparing no cost to wage war. The lords struggled to hold it off. Luo Feng, the cultivators who were previously invited, were all heading to the land of origin. Yuan explained with a smile, the land of origin is also one of the most important cores for us cultivators. I'm taking you there now. Thank you, Senior Yuan. Luo Feng respectfully said. Let's go. With a wave of Yuan's hand, he already took Luo Feng away. Qiu Ge and Yifeiya respectfully sent them off. The next time we see Daoist Luo Feng, he might be world-level primordial. Qiu Ge said. I wonder if, when he becomes world-level primordial, this war will be over. Yifeiya added. They too, as the lowest members in this war, were concerned about the war's outcome. Infinite primordial space. Yuan took Luo Feng, advancing at ultra-high speed. Whoosh. The speed was far faster than LuoFeng's usual teleportation. The scene before them was already distorted, and he couldn't clearly see any source world. Yuan looked ahead, remaining silent. Luo Feng could sense that Yuan was in a bad mood. According to Earth time, they traveled for a full 2 hours flying without a single word from Yuan. Luo Feng didn't disturb him either. He understood. Although Yuan seemed to be carrying him on the journey, likely his other avatars were busy with important matters. We've arrived ahead. Yuan finally spoke up. The land of origin was originally a mysterious land born in the infinite primordial space, refined and fortified several times by us lords. Later, it was the Starlight Lord who transferred the land of origin to a hidden location. Luo Feng sensed the intense distortion of external time and space. Starlight is the one who holds the highest mastery over time and space in the entire infinite primordial space. Yuan mentioned Starlight, revealing a slight smile. The hidden location he found is difficult for the innate primordial life camp even if they try everything. Through the chaotic time and space, Yuan carried Luo Feng through layers of obstacles to finally arrive at a stable space. Luo Feng saw it. This was a vast and peaceful land where the energy was unprecedentedly dense, with many high-density energies condensing into solid forms, turning into soil, rocks, flowers and plants, or even into liquid streams. The energy abundance here far surpassed the cultivation cave mansion of a large primordial hall. The land of origin can supply the lords with sufficient energy. Yuan said, providing energy to other cultivators is even easier. Luo Feng also saw the figures flying between heaven and earth, each possessing intimidating auras, each an existence that has escaped the braided cage. In the land of origin, apart from you who are about to break free from the braided cage, there are also over 80 million high-level primordial lifeforms, 237 world-level primordial lifeforms and 7 lords. Senior Yuan gazed at Luo Feng. All cultivators who have broken free from the braided cage as long as they are alive, leave an avatar here. These are also all the strong ones from our cultivator camp. Senior Yuan said. Luo Feng carefully memorized these numbers. Over 80 million high-level primordials, 237 world-level primordials, 7 lords. This is the entire strength of the infinite primordial space's cultivator camp that deters all sides. In our territory, there also exist a large number of innate primordial lifeforms. Senior Yuan said, and from various wars, we have captured many innate primordial lifeforms. Luo Feng nodded. The territory of cultivators was vast and boundless, so the number of innate primordial lifeforms proliferating must be quite large. Those innate primordial lifeforms that resist become our cultivation resources. Senior Yuan said, the rest are all submissive. The submissive innate primordial lifeforms include over 50 billion high-level primordials and 137 world-level primordials. Luo Feng couldn't help but exclaim, over 50 billion? This figure seemed a bit exaggerated, as the cultivator camp only had less than 100 million high-level primordial lifeforms. Senior Yuan sighed softly, this is the terrifying aspect of the innate primordial lifeforms. They are the largest group in the entire infinite primordial space, spread across all areas. Those who submit to us are merely a small fraction. This small fraction already amounts to over 50 billion high-level primordials and 137 world-level primordials. The numbers are too large, high-level primordial life, world-level primordial life, primordial ancestors. There are many. Senior Yuan shook his head gently. Those who submit have all their life cores refined and controlled. Senior Yuan added, if they serve obediently they can live, but if they are found to betray, they are executed immediately. Luo Feng nodded. Senior Yuan's attitude was clear. They are refined to become servants. Any act of betrayal means death. Our cultivators have too few strong members. Senior Yuan looked at Luo Feng. We cannot afford any mercy towards the enemy camp. I understand. Luo Feng said. If one day our cultivator camp is completely defeated, all territories are overrun. This, land of origin, is our final hope. Senior Yuan spoke softly. Luo Feng understood. The situation had become so severe that Senior Yuan and the others were prepared for all territories to fall. By then, all the cultivators who broke free from the braided cage and the most elite of them would reside in the land of origin, patiently accumulating strength. Over long ages, perhaps a few more lords would emerge with hope of reclaiming the territories. Senior Yuan, has the situation reached this point? Luo Feng asked softly. If it completely fell, what would happen to his homeland, the land of origin? What would happen to his dear family? Becoming a world-level primordial is not difficult for you. Senior Yuan looked at Luo Feng. You will be a core member of our cultivator camp and I won't hide this from you. The situation now is already very bad. The best outcome is losing more than half of the territory. The worst outcome is losing all territory. Senior Yuan looked at Luo Feng. Don't think too much. Even if you become a world-level primordial, you cannot influence the situation. This war is mainly handled by us, the 7 lords. One side is the largest group in the entire infinite primordial space. The other side has 7 lords. Each lord possesses the highest level of power. Currently, the entire infinite primordial space, nearly all forces are focused on this war. As for your homeland, the source world. Senior Yuan looked at Luo Feng. Once the world clusters fall, the innate primordial life camp will prioritize attacking the source world where the master of the source world resides. Your homeland, the source world, will also be in the sequence of their priority attack. LuoFeng's heart trembled. Once lost, we will try to migrate some of the lineage. Senior Yuan said, but with countless source worlds we can't manage them. Senior Yuan was treating Luo Feng as a world-level primordial. After all, possessing both half-primordial fusion path and will to escape the braided cage attributes provided confidence in refining a world-level primordial bloodline. Swoosh, swoosh. Senior Yuan and Luo Feng spoke while flying, allowing Luo Feng to watch over the land of origin. The lords are very busy. The land of origin is managed by world-level primordial life forms. Senior Yuan said, "Of course you haven't broken out of the braided cage yet. You don't need to undertake any tasks. Your only responsibility is cultivation. Ahead is the primordial island, where all cultivators who haven't broken free from the braided cage reside." Senior Yuan pointed to the island ahead. On the island there are more than 80,000 half-primordial cultivators. Among them, you're the only one practicing the fusion Dao. Primordial Island is quite vast. It has a high mountain, the mountain pierces through the clouds, and there's a large cave mansion at the summit. From the summit one can overlook the island. Even view most areas of the land of origin. Here is your cave mansion in the land of origin. Senior Yuan led Luo Feng to land in front of the cave mansion. That's Senior Yuan? On Primordial Island, gathered are invincible existences brought from various world clusters. Over long ages, there are more than 80,000 invincible existences here. At this moment they saw the legendary Senior Yuan, bringing a black-clothed black-haired man flying towards the cave mansion on the summit. Only those with confidence in becoming a world-level primordial can reside in a cave mansion on the summit. These invincible existences clearly understood this point. The land of origin at the peak of the high mountain on Primordial Island. What confuses you the most right now should be how to escape the braided cage. Senior Yuan sat down and with a wave of his hand, fine wine appeared on the table, a pot in front of each of them, Luo Feng and him. Gurgle gurgle gurgle. Yuan drank casually, glancing at Luo Feng. Let's drink and chat together. Yes. Only then did Luo Feng pick up his pot of wine, took a sip and said, "Please Senior Yuan, guide me on how to escape the braided cage. You are a fusion Dao cultivator with an extraordinary talent. For you, a compatible high-level primordial bloodline can easily be comprehended over 70%. Yuan said. Luo Feng nodded. The road ahead of you can be divided into two paths. One is to first become a world-level primordial life and then strive to cultivate into a primordial lord. The second is to comprehend the primordial level Dao directly, break laws with force, and directly become a primordial lord. Yuan, as the first lord of the entire Cultivator Camp, has been exploring the cultivation path, so he is naturally familiar with these ideas. Luo Feng listened carefully as this concerned his future. To become a world-level primordial life, there are two ways. One is to rely on a world-level primordial bloodline to become a world-level primordial life. After breakthrough, your thinking speed will increase a billionfold compared to now, and your comprehension will also transform. With such comprehension and speed of thinking, there is a glimmer of hope to comprehend the primordial level Dao. Yuan gently shook his head. The only drawback is that the primordial bloodline will add a bloodline will within you, and the bloodline insights will also pollute your memory. Will pollution and bloodline pollution are the drawbacks of this path. Among the 7 current lords only one lord, Nai Gu, walked this path. Yuan looked at Luo Feng. He comprehended the primordial bloodline Dao, mastering the essence of bloodlines and even integrated the bloodlines of multiple primordial ancestors into himself. Luo Feng was secretly shocked at what he heard. Integrating the bloodlines of multiple primordial ancestors into oneself? Mastering the essence of the bloodline Dao? How powerful must such an existence be? No wonder it said that every lord is an existence wielding the highest level of power in the infinite primordial space. 7 lords can contend with the entire innate primordial life camp to such an extent. The second way to become world-level primordial is to first refine the hometown source world and become the master of the source world. This path has no will pollution, no memory pollution. It can be said to be the smoothest path. Among the 7 lords, 5 have taken this path. I also took this path. LuoFeng's eyes lit up upon hearing this. 7 lords and 5 chose this path? How to refine the hometown source world? LuoFeng asked. The method has long been spread across various world groups. Yuan said, first you must master more than half of the origin great Dao of the source world, reaching at least the 2nd realm of godly king. Second, spread faith to thoroughly influence all creatures. The path of faith is extremely difficult. Yuan looked at Luo Feng. Your talent and potential in illusion technique are very average, not suitable for the path of faith. You are skilled in too few Dao, so this path of refining the hometown source world is not suitable for you. Yuan spoke decisively. Luo Feng nodded in acknowledgement. Comprehending at least 5 Daos compatible with the source world origin? Luo Feng couldn't see the hope. Illusion technique? Luo Feng probably couldn't even rank in the top 1,000 in the dark sacred realm, so how could he possibly explore the path of faith? Finally, it is to break laws with force. Yuan looked at Luo Feng. As a half-primordial life, directly comprehend the primordial level Dao. Master the highest level of power in the infinite primordial space and achieve lordship. Before the Lord, Starlight, we did not believe that a half-primordial life could comprehend the primordial level Dao. But Lord Starlight did it. Yuan looked at Luo Feng. Starlight, he comprehended the primordial spacetime path. As a half-primordial level, he achieved lordship by breaking laws with force. After becoming a lord, his speed of thought and comprehension was even higher. This advanced his strength even further. In terms of strength and threat to the innate primordial life camp, Starlight ranks first among the 7 lords. Yuan said, his contributions to the Cultivator Camp I believe have even surpassed mine. Luo Feng had heard about this before. Yuan, as the first lord, has been gracious to countless cultivators, and his contributions to the whole Cultivator Camp should be the greatest. But Yuan at this moment believed that Starlight's contributions were greater. Luo Feng thought, Yuan must be humble. But it also proves the strength of Starlight. You'll understand in the future. Yuan did not say more. Refining the source world is not suitable for you. Yuan looked at Luo Feng, so in front of you there are only 2 roads. One is to rely on a world-level primordial bloodline. The second is to break laws with force. This road of breaking laws with force is extremely difficult. You must know, even as a master of the source world, those who comprehend the primordial level Tao are few and far between. Yuan looked at Luo Feng, most are still trapped at the level of master of the source world. Luo Feng nodded. He could understand. Most masters of the source world couldn't comprehend it. For a half-primordial life to comprehend the primordial level Tao? That's truly unbelievable. If you plan to rely on a world-level primordial bloodline, I advise you to first carefully comprehend it, to penetrate over 70% before refining. Yuan said, in this way the mastery over the bloodline will be more exquisite, and the will and memory pollution will be less. Luo Feng nodded, I understand. I've said all that needs to be said, which path to take you must choose for yourself. Yuan pointed to a small building in the distance. I have also prepared a gift for you there. Study it well. Yes, Luo Feng responded. Yuan nodded and then disappeared into thin air. He truly was very busy. If it were an ordinary invincible level cultivator, Yuan wouldn't say so much. Prepared some resources? Luo Feng immediately walked towards the distant small building, where only a silver bracelet was placed. Luo Feng touched the silver bracelet and with a single thought, he had refined it. Buzz. After refining the silver bracelet, Luo Feng immediately became aware of its function. The silver bracelet contained storage space and stored some resources. At the same time, it also recorded his reward points. Ordinary resources in the land of origin are free, precious resources must be exchanged with reward points. Luo Feng slightly sensed, somewhat surprised, can infinite space reward points also be used here? The land of origin possesses almost all treasures of the Cultivator Camp. The treasure trove's vastness is countless times larger than that of the infinite space treasure vault. Even high-level primordials and world-level primordials exchange there. My reward points are slightly over 10,210,000? Luo Feng looked at his account. 200,000 reward points were the rewards for the spiritual while breaking free of the braided cage. Over 10,000 points were what remained from infinite space. 10 million reward points were the rewards obtained by the half-primordial fusion path cultivator. The Cultivator Camp assumes this level to be capable of achieving world-level primordial, and naturally the reward points granted are high. This bracelet also has a messaging function. 87,342,513 high-level primordials, 237 world-level primordials, 7 lords, all have contact information? Luo Feng familiarized himself with some messaging functions before understanding. The infinite primordial space is immensely vast. Even a lord traveling from one place to another may take a long time. Hence, messaging so far away and vast is very difficult. The messaging through this bracelet is because those who break free of the braided cage in the Cultivator Camp all have avatars in the land of origin, making it naturally easy for everyone to contact each other. 7 lords. Luo Feng only learned the names of the 7 lords through contact information. Of course, the cultivators in the land of origin dare not contact the 7 lords directly without special reasons. The 7 lords are currently dealing with a war that will decide the fate of cultivators, and no one would easily disturb them. My cave mansion has so many functions. After refining the bracelet, Luo Feng quickly understood the cave mansion's role. This cave mansion is specifically prepared for the successive, half-primordial fusion path cultivators. Half-primordials think too slowly. Even to comprehend world-level primordial bloodline, usually takes a very long time. So the cave mansion's secret chamber can accelerate time. Luo Feng slightly sensed. For a half-primordial, long-term time acceleration costs are low. This cultivation secret chamber's time acceleration formation was personally arranged by Starlight Lord and can maintain a million-fold time acceleration at its highest. An epoch would pass outside while a million epochs would have passed inside. The entire cave mansion has infinite energy supply, constantly nourishing the physical body and soul. My current thinking speed is about 1,000 times that of the dark sacred realm, and my soul is without any discomfort. Luo Feng noticed the advantages here. I have permission in this cave mansion to view any primordial bloodline type in its entirety owned by the Cultivator Camp. Also view any material? This exceeds the combined power of the Eye of Life and Death and the Wisdom Book. Luo Feng immediately understood why some exchangers would return the Wisdom Book. Returning it can refund reward points. Moreover, the ability to observe all things in the land of origin far surpasses the Eye of Life and Death and the Wisdom Book. This cave mansion is invaluable. Luo Feng was somewhat excited. Assisting cultivation, time acceleration, observing all things life and death trials. These are just the free features. Luo Feng can exchange some precious resources using reward points. The Cultivator Camp provides immense resource support to every half-primordial fusion path cultivator. At the very least, this path has produced a lord from a world-level primordial before. 7 lords. 1 follows the bloodline path, 1 uses the power-breaking technique, and 5 become lords by mastering the source world origins. In front of me, only the first 2 paths are available. Lord Naigu succeeded because he followed the primordial bloodline Dao, and the bloodline was the support for his cultivation path. No one else on the bloodline path succeeded in becoming a lord. Luo Feng pondered, sensing vaguely that the bloodline path had big issues. You must know that in history fusion path cultivators mostly followed this path, yet only Naigu succeeded. No matter what. I'll first try to break laws with force. With desire in his eyes, Luo Feng thought. Anyone confident in themselves will first attempt to comprehend the primordial level Dao. Only when utterly despairing will they choose the bloodline path. End of the volume. Taking a day off tomorrow to prepare, updates will resume the day after, starting volume 10, Breaking Laws with Force. To prevent book shortages, let me recommend 2 recent books I've read. One is Sword from the Tang Dynasty, and the other is Duke. Thank you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe and turn on the notifications so you won't miss any of our upcoming great videos.